If you enjoyed this audiobook, please consider liking, sharing, and subscribing to the channel. Sharing it with your friends and family helps spread knowledge, and when we help others grow, we grow too. Thank you so much for listening. Let's dive into the book. Chapter 1. The Money Mirror. Part 1. The First Paycheck. Consider your earliest money memory. That moment, maybe buying candy, finding a coin, or holding your first paycheck, isn't just a fleeting event. Neuroscience suggests these experiences physically shape our developing brains, forming the foundation of our financial beliefs, often before we turn 7. Think about it. Did your family openly discuss bills with anxiety, or was money a source of celebration? Did you get an allowance tied to chores, teaching work's value, or was money simply given? These childhood interactions are powerful scripts we unconsciously follow. Take Warren Buffett. His biography details how he bought his first stock at age 11, a pivotal moment fueled by his father's influence and early exposure to business concepts. This early win solidified a lifelong pattern of investing. Contrast this with someone whose first significant money memory involves scarcity or parental arguments about debt. A study by psychologist Dr. Brad Klontz identified distinct money scripts, deeply held, often unconscious beliefs, like money is safety or money is evil, largely inherited from our upbringing. These scripts directly dictate whether we hoard, spend recklessly, or avoid finances entirely. Culture plays a crucial, often overlooked role. Research published in the Journal of Consumer Research shows how collectivist cultures might prioritize family support and saving for group needs, while individualistic cultures often emphasize personal spending and investment. Your family's specific cultural background, whether immigrant experiences shaping frugality or community norms around generosity, deeply colors your initial money map. Remember Blockbuster's leadership? Their documented dismissal of streaming reflected an ingrained script valuing physical stores over digital change, a fatal misstep Netflix avoided by challenging its own initial model. Your first real paycheck is a revealing lens. Did you immediately spend it on something desired, feeling the rush of independence, a spend script? Did you meticulously save most of it, perhaps recalling parental warnings, a save script? Or did you feel overwhelmed, maybe avoiding the bank altogether, an avoid script? Tiffany Alish, the budgetnista, often speaks about clients whose early experiences of financial instability lead to adult hoarding behaviors, even when financially secure, a clear script playing out. A landmark University of Cambridge study confirmed that money habits are largely formed by age 7. The good news? Awareness is the key to change. Like an archaeologist, gently excavate your money past. What specific phrases did you hear? Money doesn't grow on trees. We can't afford that. Or don't worry about the cost. What emotions surfaced during your first significant purchase or when money was discussed at home? Identifying these ingrained patterns. Perhaps you save compulsively but never enjoy it, or splurge when stressed, is the crucial first step. Recognizing that your current reactions are echoes of those early experiences, not fixed destiny, empowers you to consciously choose new responses. This self-knowledge, grounded in your real history, is the essential groundwork before tracking spending or setting goals. It allows you to understand why you do what you do with money, creating space to intentionally build healthier habits aligned with who you are now. Part 2. The Spending Snapshot. Now that you've explored the roots of your money patterns, let's shine a light on your present reality. Picture this. Sarah, a graphic designer earning $60,000 yearly, swore she spent almost nothing on coffee. But when she recorded every purchase for 2 weeks, she discovered $112 vanishing at cafe counters. That's over $2,800 annually, enough for a vacation or emergency fund boost. This is the power of the Spending Snapshot, a non-judgmental record of where your money actually flows, not where you think it goes. Tracking expenses feels tedious until you try it. Forget complex systems at first. Grab a small notebook or use free tools like Mint or Every Dollar. For 1 month, log every transaction, the $3 parking fee, the $12 streaming subscription, the $40 gas fill-up. Physical receipts work too. Drop them in a jar daily. The key is consistency, not perfection. When Mark, a teacher in Ohio, did this exercise, he spotted $85 monthly in forgotten app subscriptions. That revelation freed up funds for his daughter's music lessons. Patterns emerge quickly. You'll notice leakage points, recurring small expenses that accumulate silently. That daily $4 pastry becomes $120 monthly. More importantly, you'll spot emotional triggers. Did you buy those shoes after a tough meeting? Order takeout when exhausted? Julie, a nurse in Seattle, realized 70% of her Amazon purchases happened during night shifts. Recognizing these connections helps separate true needs. I require groceries from wants. I crave sushi delivery. Resist labeling spending as good or bad. Instead, ask, does this align with my values? A $100 concert ticket might bring joy if music fuels your soul, while the same amount on impulse gadgets might create regret. Ramit Sethi's conscious spending approach emphasizes this. Cut mercilessly on things you don't care about, like generic groceries, to fund what you love, like travel. Your snapshot becomes a diagnostic tool. Tiffany Alish calls it getting a money story, hard data revealing your financial truth. When Carlos tracked his spending, he discovered his cheap lunches out totaled more than fine dining twice a month. He switched to packed lunches 4 days weekly, redirecting savings toward his photography workshop dream. The magic happens in the review. After your tracking period, categorize expenses: housing, food, leisure. Use colored highlighters: green for essentials, yellow for wants, red for impulse buys. Where do you wince? Where could $20 weekly be reallocated toward your goals from the dream list? This clarity transforms anxiety into agency. You're not restricting life, you're designing it with intention. Your money finally mirrors your priorities. Part 3. The why behind wants. Consider Carlos again. After seeing his lunch habits clearly, he asked a tougher question. Why do I keep buying these sandwiches when I know they're draining my photography fund? That moment, when you question not just what you buy, but what emotional itch it scratches, changes everything. Money decisions are rarely about math. They're about the stories we tell ourselves to feel secure, accepted, or comforted. Advertising knows this well. Take Coca-Cola's decades-old strategy. They don't sell sugar water. They sell belonging. Their Hilltop ad from 1971 showed young people singing about global unity while holding Cokes. It tied fizzy drinks to human connection, a brilliant emotional hook. Studies confirm this works. A Journal of Consumer Research paper found people given loneliness primers spent 300% more on impulse buys. When we feel isolated, we buy to fill voids. Peer pressure amplifies this. Harvard researchers tracked office workers' spending after payday lunches. When one colleague ordered dessert, others followed 73% more often, even if they'd initially refused. This mimics Blockbuster's fatal error. They dismissed Netflix's mail-order model because executives saw peers in traditional retail doubling down on physical stores. Following the herd feels safe, but often ignores personal realities. Short-term relief versus long-term gain plays out starkly in psychology. Walter Mischel's Stanford marshmallow experiments weren't just about kids resisting treats. Adults face identical trade-offs. Buy the flashy jacket now, instant confidence boost, or invest in a career course, delayed but lasting growth. Tiffany Alish, author of Get Good with Money, calls this the rich versus wealthy mindset. Rich buys temporary admiration, wealthy builds enduring freedom. Try 2 practical filters before spending. First, the 24-hour rule Dave Ramsey advocates. When tempted by a non-essential, wait 1 day. Most urges fade. Second, calculate the life energy cost, as Vicki Robbins suggests in Your Money or Your Life. If you earn $20 hourly, that $100 gadget costs 5 work hours. Is it worth half a workday? Maria, a nurse I coached, used this to curb online shopping. She'd ask, would I trade 3 hours of ventilator alarms for this dress? Usually the answer was no. Her saved funds now fuel weekend painting classes. Authentic joy, not manufactured desire. Recognizing these triggers isn't about deprivation. It's about redirecting resources toward what psychologist Daniel Gilbert calls synthetic happiness, the deep satisfaction we create through meaningful choices, not purchases. When your spending aligns with self-awareness, money stops being a distraction and starts building the life you genuinely want. Part 4. The Dream List. Consider Maria's painting classes. That shift from impulsive spending to purposeful saving didn't happen by accident. It started when she named what mattered: creativity, growth, quiet joy. Financial momentum springs from this same clarity. What if you treated your aspirations not as distant fantasies, but as destinations on a map? That's the power of a dream list. Begin by writing down everything you want, whether it's a week in Portugal, a debt-free life, or simply Friday night pizza without guilt. Author Vicki Robin calls this valuing your life energy. Each item represents time and effort traded for something meaningful. Take travel blogger Matt Kepnes, who transformed his vague desire to see the world into a concrete goal. Visit Thailand within 18 months. He calculated flights, lodging, and food, $3,500 total, then saved $200 monthly by cooking meals instead of dining out. His specificity turned a wish into a mission. Dreams become achievable when you sort them. Ask, which goals ignite genuine excitement? Which offer long-term stability? Psychologist Angela Duckworth's research on grit reveals that passion paired with perseverance predicts success better than talent alone. Rank your list accordingly. Short-term wins, like building a $500 emergency fund, build confidence for loftier targets, say a home down payment. Dave Ramsey's debt snowball method works similarly. Small victories fuel bigger ones. Now dissect large ambitions. Homeownership feels overwhelming until you break it into phases. Say you need $30,000 for a down payment. Saving $500 monthly makes it yours in 5 years. Automate transfers to a dedicated account, what Ramit Sethi champions as invisible money systems. Tiffany Alich calls these goal buckets, visual reminders that daily choices add up. Skip 3 $5 coffees weekly, that's $780 yearly toward Portugal. Visualization cements commitment. Studies like Dr. Gail Matthews' Dominican University experiment show people who write goals and share progress with friends succeed 42% more often. Picture walking through Lisbon's Alfama district or unlocking your front door. This mental rehearsal activates what athletes call target focus, training your brain to spot opportunities aligned with your aim. Your dream list isn't static. Revise it yearly, celebrating milestones like Maria's first gallery showing funded by redirected spending. When money serves your deepest desires, budgeting transforms from restriction to liberation. What's one dream you'll pencil onto your map today? Chapter 2, Building Your Money Map. Part 1, The Honest Budget. Here's how to build a budget that actually works with your life, not against it. Most people quit budgeting because they treat it like a diet, rigid, joyless, and doomed to fail. But what if your budget became a GPS for your money, guiding you toward what matters most? Let's cut through the noise. Start with raw honesty. Track every dollar you spend for 30 days. No judgment, just observation. Use apps like Mint or a simple notebook. You'll likely spot leaks, recurring subscriptions you forgot about, impulse buys at checkout, or that daily latte adding up. One teacher I coached discovered she was spending $200 monthly on unused gym memberships and streaming services, money she later redirected to her dream trip to Greece. Now, choose a method that fits your brain. If you're visual and tactile, try the envelope system. Withdraw cash for categories like groceries or entertainment. When the envelope empties, you stop. It's why Dave Ramsey's followers swear by it. It turns abstract numbers into tangible limits. Prefer digital precision? Zero-based budgeting assigns every dollar a job before the month begins, whether it's rent, savings, or concert tickets. Apps like YNAB, You Need a Budget, automate this. Or use the 50-30-20 rule. 50% for needs, housing, utilities, 30% for wants, dining out, hobbies, 20% for savings and debt. A nurse I advised used this to save for a down payment while still enjoying weekend hikes with her family. Avoid common traps. Don't set unrealistic cuts, like slashing your food budget by 80% if you love cooking. That's unsustainable. Instead, trim gradually. If you spend $600 on dining out, aim for $500 next month. Also, budget for surprises. Life changes, car repairs, medical bills, or a friend's wedding. Set aside a flex fund each month. Even $50 helps. Ramit Sethi calls this guilt-free spending, money earmarked for spontaneity. One couple budgeted $100 monthly for unplanned joy, which covered everything from last-minute movie tickets to helping a neighbor in need. Your budget should bend, not break. Review it quarterly. Got a raise? Increase savings. Had a baby? Adjust for diapers and daycare. Tiffany Alich, the barefoot investor, reminds us that budgets aren't straitjackets. They're blueprints for financial breathing room. When a freelance designer lost a major client, his budget's flexibility let him pause retirement contributions temporarily without panic. This honesty about your cash flow isn't just about numbers. It's the foundation for tackling what's next: debt. Because when you know exactly where your money goes, you can redirect it purposefully, starting with what you owe. Part 2. The Debt Detour. Now that your budget shows exactly where your money flows, you're ready to tackle debt head-on. Let's be real. Debt feels like carrying a backpack full of bricks. A Federal Reserve study found that 77% of Americans have some form of debt, yet we rarely discuss the shame that comes with it. Remember Blockbuster? They ignored their $900 million debt burden while Netflix adapted, and we know how that ended. Your personal finances work the same way. Avoiding debt conversations guarantees it grows. Start by understanding your debts. Credit card balances often have 15 to 25% interest, draining budgets alive. Student loans might be lower interest but span decades. Mortgages typically have the lowest rates but largest balances. Dave Ramsey's debt snowball method helped a nurse in Tennessee pay off $52,000. She listed debts smallest to largest, paid minimums on all, and threw extra cash at the smallest balance first. Knocking out that $500 medical bill in 2 months gave her the momentum to tackle bigger debts. Mathematically, the avalanche method, targeting highest interest rates first, saves more money. Ramit Sethi cites a client who saved $8,700 in interest by focusing on a 24% APR store card before his 6% student loans. Negotiation is your secret weapon. When a Chicago teacher lost her part-time job, she called credit card companies and said, "I can pay 60% of this balance today if you close the account." 2 agreed, cutting her debt by $11,000. Always ask for lower rates. Banks often say yes to avoid defaults. Build your repayment plan around your life. A parent with daycare costs might take 5 years to clear debt, while a single freelancer could do it in 2. Tiffany Elish suggests debt dates, weekly 20-minute check-ins where you track progress and adjust. Celebrate every $1,000 paid, a homemade meal, a park walk, to stay motivated. Setbacks happen. An engineer in Austin paid off $15,000, then faced a $4,000 car repair. He paused extra debt payments for 3 months but kept making minimums, using his emergency fund. He resumed full payments after, proving progress isn't linear. Debt freedom is a marathon, not a sprint. Your budget is the roadmap. Now you're driving. Part 3. The Savings Shortcut. After tackling debt, you've cleared space to build something new, a buffer between you and life's surprises. Think of the engineer from Austin. That $4,000 car repair didn't derail him because he had savings to fall back on. Without it, he'd have swiped a credit card, restarting the debt cycle. Savings aren't about deprivation. They're your financial shock absorbers. Start by treating savings like a non-negotiable bill. Ramit Sethi calls this paying yourself first. Set up automatic transfers the day after payday, even $20 weekly, to a separate account. One teacher I know named her savings account Freedom Fund and had $50 moved automatically each Friday. Within a year, she'd saved $2,600 without noticing. Apps like Ally or Capital One let you create buckets for goals like emergency fund or vacation, making progress visible. Your first target? An emergency fund. Dave Ramsey's research shows that $500 38% of small crises from becoming disasters. Aim for that initially, then build to 3 to 6 months expenses. Hold this money in a high-yield savings account. Traditional banks offer near zero interest, but online accounts like Marcus pay 4 to 5% today. On a $5,000 balance, that's $200 yearly. Free money just for parking cash. Small habits scale up. A Chicago nurse began saving loose change daily, averaging $180. She upgraded to $5 daily via app roundups, then added $50 monthly bonuses. In 3 years, she amassed $8,000. Studies like the 2021 FINRA Financial Capabilities Survey confirm this. Those automating savings are 3x likelier to feel in control of finances. Celebrate milestones. When your emergency fund hits $1,000, mark it with a $15 treat. A fancy coffee or a movie night. Tiffany Alicia's community shares photos of their savings screenshots, turning progress into collective joy. Each win builds confidence. Knowing a broken fridge won't break you reduces anxiety tangibly. Stanford researchers found people with even modest savings sleep 22 minutes longer nightly on average. Next, we'll discuss how this foundation lets you weather bigger storms, job losses, health crises without crumbling. Your safety net starts here. Part 4. The safety net. Consider your car's airbag system. You hope it never deploys, but you'd never drive without one. Financial safety nets work the same way. That $500 emergency fund we started in the savings shortcut acts like your first cushion. Now let's build it into true protection against life's collisions. Financial researcher Matt Fellows found medical bills triggered 60% of U.S. bankruptcies pre-pandemic. Yet Harvard's Joint Center for Housing Studies revealed renters with just 1 month's expenses saved were 75% less likely to face eviction after job loss. This isn't about pessimism, it's practical physics. Newton's third law applies to money. Unexpected forces demand equal preparation. Start by growing your starter fund into 3 to 6 months of essential living costs. Dave Ramsey's baby steps approach suggests $1,000 initially, then tackling debt before fully funding emergencies. Tiffany Alich's Get Good with Money offers a kinder path. Automate 5% of each paycheck until you hit your target. Where should it live? High-yield savings accounts like Marcus, 4.5% APY in 2023, or Ally's Buckets keep funds accessible but psychologically separate from daily spending. Insurance forms your second shield. Health coverage is non-negotiable. Remember Oregon's 2008 Medicaid study showing insured adults were 25% less likely to accumulate medical debt. Renters insurance? Lemonade processed claims in minutes during 2021's Texas freeze when pipes burst in apartments. Term life policies matter if others depend on your income. Policy Genius data shows a healthy 30-year-old can get $500,000 coverage for under $30 monthly. What happens when the storm hits? Contingency plans transform panic into action. When Sarah lost her tech job during 2022's layoffs, her predetermined crisis budget immediately paused streaming services and dining out. She tapped her emergency fund while applying for unemployment, avoiding credit card debt that entraps 40% of Americans, according to Fed data. True financial security isn't a bank balance. It's walking through hospital doors focusing on recovery, not payment plans. It's the sleep study Stanford conducted proving money worries literally steal rest. Build your net thread by thread. Increase savings by $50 monthly, review insurance policies annually, discuss contingency plans over Sunday coffee. Protection creates possibility. With your basics guarded, you're freed to grow. Chapter 3. Growing Your Green Part 1, The Investment Seed. Imagine planting a single apple seed today. It feels insignificant, just a speck in the dirt. But decades later, that seed becomes a tree producing thousands of apples. Investing works the same way. Your first $50 contribution seems trivial, yet planted in fertile ground, it grows into something substantial. Consider Warren Buffett. He bought his first stock at age 11. That $104 investment in Citi Service preferred stock launched a journey making him one of history's greatest investors. You don't need his genius, just his patience. Many fear investing after hearing about stock market crashes. Remember Blockbuster? Its stock collapsed when streaming emerged. But Netflix adapted. Their shares rose 40,000% over 20 years. This illustrates a key principle. Spread your seeds. Don't plant one crop. Mutual funds let you own tiny pieces of hundreds of companies. Vanguard's total stock market index, FIX, for example, holds over 3,500 stocks. If one fails, others thrive. Compound interest is your silent partner. Picture two neighbors. Anna starts investing $100 monthly at age 25. Ben waits until 35. Both earn 7% annually, the S&P 500's historical average. By 65, Anna has $264,000. Ben, just $122. That 10-year delay cost him $142,000, not from spending more, but from missing growth on growth. This math explains why coffee shop baristas become millionaires through steady 401k contributions. Getting started is simpler than ever. Fidelity or Charles Schwab offer IRAs you can open online in minutes. Robo-advisors like Betterment build diversified portfolios automatically. Just answer basic questions about your goals. Tiffany Alich's Get Good with Money rightly calls these financial training wheels. Start with whatever you can spare. Ramit Sethi's I Will Teach You to Be Rich shows how automating $50 monthly investments builds discipline. Stocks are ownership slices. Buying Apple shares means owning a microscopic part of their innovation engine. Bonds are loans. Purchasing a U.S. Treasury bond means lending money to the government. Mutual funds bundle both. Your local library likely offers free Morningstar reports comparing them. The key? Ignore market noise. Scott Pape's Barefoot Investor Method. Check investments quarterly, rebalance annually, otherwise live your life. Financial growth, like arboreal growth, happens underground first. Water your seeds consistently. Part 2. The Wealthy Mindset. Consider the soil where financial seeds grow. Your mindset acts as the nutrient-rich foundation determining whether investments flourish or wither. Research from Stanford's marshmallow experiments reveals something profound. Children who waited 15 minutes for 2 marshmallows later earned higher SAT scores and maintained healthier body weights. This delayed gratification muscle predicts financial outcomes decades later. But how do we cultivate it when modern culture screams, "Buy now"? Dave Ramsey's baby steps approach succeeds because it rewires scarcity thinking. Take Sarah, a nurse I coached who constantly worried about bills despite a solid income. She tracked every dollar for 30 days using Vicki Robbins' Your Money or Your Life method and discovered $400 monthly disappearing into forgotten subscriptions and impulse convenience store stops. By automating savings first, paying herself before bills, she shifted from "I can't afford this" to "Where shall I direct this surplus?" Within 18 months, she built a $10,000 emergency fund. Her income hadn't changed. Her mindset had. Financial setbacks often become pivot points. When Steve Jobs was fired from Apple in 1985, he channeled frustration into founding Next and Pixar, ventures that ultimately revolutionized computing and animation. Tiffany Alich, the budgetnista, rebuilt her life after losing her job during the 2008 recession, transforming $100,000 in debt into a 7-figure net worth by treating each small win as momentum. Her strategy? Celebrate every $500 milestone with a dance party in her living room. Joy reinforces progress. Surroundings shape money beliefs. Nicholas Christakis' social network research shows financial behaviors spread through communities like contagions. One study found participants were 15% more likely to save for retirement if their coworkers did. Ramit Sethi advises designing your environment. Unsubscribe from marketing emails. Follow financial educators instead of luxury influencers. Join groups like the FIRE, Financial Independence Retire Early movement. Scott Pape calls this planting your money tree where it gets sunlight. Affirmations work when grounded in action. I am wealthy feels hollow when overdraft fees loom. Instead, try I negotiate my worth. Ask for that raise. I learn from financial errors. Analyze why last month's budget failed. Or I invest consistently. Set up that $50 auto transfer. Morgan Housel notes in The Psychology of Money that true wealth comes from the ability to wake up and say, I can do whatever I want today. That freedom grows not from your portfolio's digits, but from knowing your choices align with your values. Water that awareness daily. Part 3. The Simple Tools. Here's how to build financial clarity with tools that work quietly in the background. Think about Blockbuster in 2007. They saw Netflix shifting to streaming but dismissed it as niche. Blockbuster relied on manual processes, late fees tracked on spreadsheets, physical inventory counts. Netflix used algorithms to predict demand and automated billing. The difference wasn't just foresight, it was systems. Your finances thrive the same way. Automation removes friction. Bank of America's Keep the Change program, rounding up purchases to stash spare change automatically, has saved customers over $15 billion since 2005. It proves small, effortless actions compound. Start with a budgeting app like Mint. It's your financial dashboard. Link accounts once and it categorizes spending, flags subscriptions you forgot, that $12.99 music app, and shows cash flow visually. One user discovered her quick coffee stops totaled $143 monthly, enough for an extra debt payment. Apps turn vague guilt into specific data. Now automate transfers. Ramit Sethi calls this set and forget wealth. Schedule 3 transfers the day after payday. 1 to savings, aim for 10 to 20%. 1 to investments, even $25 a week. 1 to a fun fund. Tiffany Alish, the budgetnista, teaches clients to treat these like rent, non-negotiable. A teacher automated $75 weekly into a SEP IRA. Over a decade, it grew enough to fund her summer travels. Track net worth quarterly using tools like Personal Capital. Seeing assets minus liabilities in one place shifts perspective. A freelance designer watched his net worth dip when he bought equipment, then climb as projects paid off. A tangible measure of progress. Set alerts for bills and savings milestones. Your phone pings. Electric bill due tomorrow. 78 budgeted. Or emergency fund hit $1,000. These nudges prevent $40 overdraft fees and celebrate wins. Scott Pape's Barefoot Investor followers use calendar reminders for money dates, 20 minutes monthly to review accounts. One couple found a duplicated insurance charge during theirs, reclaiming $600 annually. Keep checklists. Dave Ramsey's Baby Steps list tackles debt's smallest to largest for psychological wins. A checklist for tax documents? Saves hours searching come April. Try a power hour, 60 minutes weekly to scan accounts, update budgets, adjust goals. Aaron Lowry's Broke Millennial readers use this to spot fraud early or adjust for surprises, like a pet's vet bill. Tools aren't one size fits all. Prefer pen and paper? Susie Orman's readers swear by her physical financial freedom ledger. Love spreadsheets? Google Sheets has free templates. Test options for a month. The goal isn't perfection. It's creating systems so reliable your money decisions become intentional, not reactive. This groundwork frees mental space for generosity, a natural next step when finances feel secure. Part 4. The Giving Back Story. Here's how generosity reshapes our relationship with money, building on the financial stability you've started creating. That mental space cleared by your new money systems? It often fills with something unexpected, the impulse to give. Consider Warren Buffett's approach. He committed over 99% of his wealth to philanthropy while still living modestly in the same Omaha house he bought in 1958. His reasoning? Too much money eventually belongs to others. Research from the University of Oregon confirms this instinct. Brain scans show giving activates the same pleasure centers as receiving money. Generosity takes forms beyond dollars. Tiffany Alish, the budgetnista, teaches clients to donate professional skills, like a graphic designer creating brochures for a food bank. Scott Pape, Barefoot Investor, documents Australian farmers rebuilding after wildfires through shared equipment pools. These actions create what psychologists call a helper's high, that lasting lift after volunteering at a school or mentoring someone. Start small but systematic. Ramit Sethi's readers allocate guilt-free giving funds in their budgets, even $5 monthly to a local animal shelter. Vicki Robin, Your Money or Your Life, suggests tracking how giving affects your fulfillment, just like expenses. One nurse I met automates $20 monthly to a cancer fund after her recovery, calling it Hope Insurance. The ripple effects surprise people. Dave Ramsey observes that debt-free families often become community pillars, funding scholarships or youth programs. Why? Generosity reinforces financial discipline. When you intentionally set aside giving money, you scrutinize casual spending. That $4 daily latte? Knowing it could cover a week of meals at the shelter makes choices clearer. True abundance emerges when giving aligns with values. Aaron Lowry, Broke Millennial, shares how a reader with $50,000 debt still volunteered weekly at a literacy program. Teaching kids felt like investing in futures, she wrote. It kept me motivated to tackle my own numbers. This mindset shift prepares you for what's next. Planting financial seeds through investing. When you experience money as a tool for positive impact, risking capital feels less like gambling and more like stewardship. Action step. This week, perform one micro act of generosity within your means. Buy groceries for a struggling neighbor, edit a resume for a job seeker, or donate unused coats. Notice how it reframes your relationship with resources. Chapter 4. The Journey Ahead. Part 1. The Roadblocks. Life rarely moves in a straight line, especially with money. Consider that Federal Reserve study showing 40% of Americans couldn't handle a $400 emergency. That statistic becomes painfully real when your transmission fails the same week your dog needs surgery. Financial progress often feels like hiking uphill during an earthquake. The ground keeps shifting beneath you. Job losses hit unexpectedly, as workers discovered during the 2008 recession when unemployment jumped to 10% seemingly overnight. Market downturns arrive without warning, like the 34% stock plunge in March 2020. These aren't theoretical risks. They're documented realities that derail even careful plans. The key lies in preparation, not prediction. Start by building your financial airbag. Dave Ramsey's baby steps approach emphasizes a starter emergency fund, $1,000 tucked away, specifically for surprise expenses. This small buffer prevents minor crises from becoming debt avalanches. Tiffany Alish calls this your get out of trouble fund, noting how it transforms panic into manageable problems. One reader avoided credit card debt when her fridge died because she'd saved just $75 monthly for 18 months. Connect with others navigating similar challenges. Online communities like Reddit's Personal Finance Forum document thousands overcoming setbacks through shared strategies. When Ramit Sethi's reader lost his job, his previously built support trio, a career coach, industry mentor, and financial advisor, helped him pivot within months. Isolation magnifies financial stress. Connection dilutes it. Mistakes become valuable when treated as data points. Consider how Steve Jobs described getting fired from Apple. The heaviness of being successful was replaced by the lightness of being a beginner again. Apply this to money. A missed credit card payment isn't moral failure. It's information revealing where your system needs adjustment. Morgan Housel's research shows people who analyze financial errors rather than ruminate on them recover 30% faster. Motivation thrives on micro-wins. During the 2020 market crash, investors who tracked small portfolio rebounds daily stayed calmer than those checking balances monthly. Set tiny milestones. Save $20 this week or call one utility provider to negotiate bills. Scott Pape recommends celebrating these with non-financial rewards. A walk in nature, borrowing a book from the library. These acknowledgments rewire your brain to associate effort with reward. Flexibility beats rigidity every time. When a teacher's school cut hours during budget cuts, she used Vicki Robbins' life energy concept to evaluate side gigs. Tutoring paid better per hour than restaurant work, aligning with her skills. She adapted rather than abandoned her plan. Your budget should have movable pieces, streaming services paused, groceries swapped for store brands that adjust when income drops. Contingency plans turn disasters into inconveniences. Those who weathered the 2008 recession best often had multiple income streams, even small ones. One graphic designer taught online classes during client dry spells. Another kept crisis contacts, people who'd offer short-term loans at 0% interest if his emergency fund ran out. These aren't fallback plans, they're springboards. Progress hides in plain sight during hard times. Measuring only your net worth misses crucial victories, negotiating a lower bill, resisting an impulse buy, or finally understanding your retirement plan. Aaron Lowry suggests writing these invisible wins on sticky notes. Seeing them accumulate builds resilience muscle memory. Financial journeys resemble mountain trails. Sometimes you circle the same terrain before realizing you've gained elevation. Self-compassion is your most practical tool. Studies show people who treat themselves kindly after financial missteps course-correct faster than self-punishers. When a market dip erases 6 months of gains, recall that the S&P 500 has always recovered. Your ability to continue matters more than yesterday's balance. Tomorrow's plan begins with forgiving today's stumbles. Part 2. The money talks money feels heavier when carried alone. After facing setbacks, as we just discussed, the next step forward often involves finding trusted voices. Think of it like hiking after a storm. Sharing the load makes the path manageable. Yet most of us whisper about finances. Why? Historically, money signaled status or shame. Victorian Brits hid income details to avoid social judgment. Modern studies, like a 2021 TIA Institute survey, reveal 68% of adults avoid money talks with friends. Silence costs us. Couples arguing about finances weekly are 30% more likely to divorce, University of Tennessee research. While families who discuss money raise kids with 22% higher savings rates, Money Confidence Institute. Start small. With partners, schedule a money coffee chat. Ramit Sethi suggests framing it positively. I found a way to save $50 monthly. Want to try it together? Focus on shared goals, not blame. Tiffany Alish recounts a client who averted divorce by switching from "you overspent" to "how can we protect our vacation fund?" For children, turn grocery trips into lessons. Scott Pape recommends giving kids actual cash for produce. When they choose expensive berries, they learn trade-offs. Aaron Lowry notes teens with bank accounts make 40% fewer overdraft errors as adults. Disagreements? Pause. Vicky Robin advises partners to write feelings before talking. One couple resolved debt fights by setting a $100 no-questions spending limit per month. Boundaries matter too. If relatives ask for loans, Morgan Housel's approach works. I track every dollar for my goals. Let's brainstorm other options. Success stories build networks. Dave Ramsey followers often form debt-free scream groups. One teacher paid off $80 in debt after joining such a circle. Her tip? Share your progress, not your balance. These conversations stitch resilience into relationships. Like that mountain trail earlier, you'll encounter switchbacks. But with companions who know your path, the climb feels lighter. Part 3. The check-in. Consider how experienced sailors navigate. They constantly check their position against the stars, not because they doubt their course, but because currents shift unexpectedly. Money works the same way. That couple from our last chat who set $100 no-questions spending limits, they succeeded because every Sunday over coffee, they spent 20 minutes reviewing their week. Like checking coordinates, this habit kept them on track toward debt freedom without feeling overwhelmed. Most financial plans fail from neglect, not poor design. MIT researchers found people who reviewed spending monthly were 42% more likely to hit savings targets than those who didn't. Tiffany Alish calls these money dates, scheduled moments where you gather statements, update trackers, and acknowledge movement toward goals. One teacher I met paid off $80,000 in debt by making these sessions joyful. She'd light a candle and play jazz while updating her progress thermometer. Celebrating small wins rewires your brain. Harvard studies confirm recognizing incremental progress, like saving your first $500 or reducing credit card interest by negotiating rates, releases dopamine that fuels persistence. Set practical rhythms. Monthly reviews work for daily spending adjustments. Look at bank apps together like that couple did, noting where surprises occurred, maybe car repairs ate into dining out funds. Quarterly, assess bigger patterns. Did your emergency fund grow? Did insurance costs rise? Annually, realign with life changes. A promotion might mean boosting retirement contributions, while a new baby may require adjusting timelines. Ramit Sethi advises his clients to automate finances first, then review quarterly. Set systems to handle 85% of decisions so check-ins become tweaks, not overhauls. Mistakes become useful data when framed right. A bakery owner-client once forgot quarterly taxes amid holiday orders. Instead of self-blame, she analyzed why. Poor calendar reminders. Her fix? Scheduling tax payments immediately after weekly inventory checks. Scott Pape calls this the barefoot balance, treating setbacks as diagnostic tools rather than failures. Visually tracking progress also helps. Dave Ramsey followers often mark debt reduction on wall charts. One family colored in a cartoon rocket as they paid off loans, making each payment feel like launching toward space. What makes this stick? Link it to existing routines. Check spending while brewing morning coffee. Review investments during your monthly haircut appointment. Like those mountain hikers sharing trails, invite your accountability partner to virtual check-ins. One retired couple I know transformed dry number crunching into connection by pairing finance reviews with wine tastings, turning obligation into anticipated ritual. Progress happens in the pauses between actions. By building intentional moments of reflection, you transform money management from anxious chore into confident navigation. Part 4. The Legacy Letter. Consider this. Nearly 70% of wealthy families lose their fortune by the second generation, according to research from the Williams Group Consultancy. Yet Warren Buffett, while preparing to give away 99% of his wealth, focused equally on teaching his children the value of work and independence. He once explained, "I want to give my kids just enough so that they would feel that they could do anything, but not so much that they would feel like doing nothing." This reveals a truth about legacy building. It's less about the money itself and more about the wisdom we attach to it. Your financial check-ins become powerful when viewed through this lens. Those regular reviews aren't just about today's budget or next year's goals. They're practice for a conversation that extends beyond your lifetime. Take the Vanderbilt family as a cautionary tale. Cornelius Vanderbilt died in 1877 as the richest man in America, but his descendants focused on spending rather than stewardship. Within 50 years, the fortune evaporated. Contrast this with families like the Rockefellers, who established clear values around philanthropy and education, preserving both wealth and purpose across generations. So how do you start? Begin with paper and pen. A financial legacy letter costs nothing but carries immense weight. Describe not just what you're leaving, but why. One teacher I met included stories of saving for her daughter's education while working night shifts, turning bank statements into a narrative of resilience. This became her family's North Star during tough decisions. Next, address the practical. A simple will, drafted with online tools or an affordable attorney, ensures your intentions are honored. Firms like LegalZoom or services through employers make this accessible, often for under $150. But legacy isn't solely for the wealthy. A mechanic in Ohio taught his grandchildren compound interest using spare change and a mason jar, transforming loose coins into lifelong money habits. This mirrors what Tiffany Alici emphasizes. Financial wholeness means sharing knowledge, not just assets. Your why becomes their compass. What if your legacy letter became a living document? Update it annually during your financial check-ins, adding lessons from market downturns or unexpected windfalls. Like the retired couple who paired wine tastings with money reviews, make this ritual meaningful. Pour coffee, gather your people, and discuss values openly. Studies show families who talk regularly about money transfer 30% more wealth successfully. Your financial journey gains new depth when framed as a gift to others. What story do you want told about your choices? Start small. Jot down one money lesson for someone you love this week. That single page might ignite generations of wise decisions.